The reason for that was very simple, because you are amending the constitution and you are not dealing with subclause 3 of
3, yes.
you're not dealing with subclause 3
I'm not dealing. I dealt with at the end on my lord, 6th of August.
because subclause 3 only deals with 370 itself.
Itself, not other. Your lordships are right. Not other part of the constitution.
Because D refers to other provisions, because before D you have C.
Yes.
C says that the provisions of Article 1 and of Article 370 shall apply to the
Yes.
state of Jammu and Kashmir.
Correct.
Therefore, in that sense, it freezes the provisions of Article 370 in relation to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, what it does is, therefore, it says other provisions of the Constitution shall apply subject to such exceptions and modifications. Therefore, other provisions will mean provisions other than Article 1 and Article 370.
And 370 itself.
And 370 itself.
Correct.
Therefore, if you have to make an alteration of 370 or abrogate its status or reduce it or dilute it or alter it, you have to follow
3
equals to 3.
Correct, my lord.
Right?
But, my lord, kindly, I'm sorry, my lord, I'm almost reaching, my lord, at your lordship's level.
But then,
No.
can you do that? Can you do
Exactly,
that?
that's what I'm answering.
Using the power under 367 then. That's the point.
Exactly, that's what I'm answering. I cannot do that under sub-article 3. 367, I cannot modify under sub-article D. That I can do, and I have done only under 371D. It has been used as a mechanism, and DAMNO approves it.
Right. We've seen Damnu.
Any-
We are now just looking at it. We are looking at it as a matter of first impression.
Correct, my lord. The first impression.
Can you alter the import of a provision of Article 370 itself by a process other than 3? Because what you
No.
have done essentially here is
No.
that you have used 367 to amend the proviso to 370.
Correct. No, not amend. 367 is explanation. That instead of A, it would be B. It may have an effect of amendment.
Whether you call it an explanation or an amendment.
Yes.
One thing is very clear, that the amendment to 367 has the consequence of now reading the words Legislative Assembly in place of Constituent Assembly.
Which in fact was not necessary. But yes, it was done. But not under 370. It was done under the first step was, my lord, the first step was the President under 371D added the explanation that henceforth.
What the question being put to you is slightly, I think, different. The question is, by making the amendment in 366, by equating Constituent Assembly with the Legislative Assembly, aren't you in fact amending Article 370 without taking recourse
To 373.
to clause 3 of 370, because Article 370 can be only amended in terms of clause.
Clause 3.
I understand. But then, my lord, it has the effect of it becoming permanent. Because there is no Constituent Assembly. So it can never be modified. 370 can never be modified.
Can take recourse. I mean, the argument on the other side is this, that you can take recourse to clause D of subclause D of clause 1 in a situation where you have to amend any other provision of the Constitution other than Article 370.
Lord, how?
But can you take, yes,
It doesn't say so.
it's very clear. It says
Such
of
other
the
provisions.
other provisions of this
Other means except 1 and 370.
So you are saying such other
Yes.
provisions will include 367. Mr. Solicitor.
Yes. It's,
All right, Mr. Sibal, just once again. That doesn't matter. Let's not.
quite often. I think I should be accustomed to, my lord.
We are posing
Yes.
an issue because we have to deal with these issues. So we want to elicit a response.
Yes, my lord.
371D refers to other provisions of the Constitution. Other provisions of the Constitution, according to you, would include 367. Possible. We are not ruling this out at all. We will test that hypothesis. But can you use 367 and amend 367 to bring about an amendment to 370. If you do that while exercising the power under 371D, then are you not really doing that to amend 370 itself? Because the only provision which the Constitution creates to amend 370 is 370 clause 3. What you're now doing is, according to them, is that you are using the amendment of 367, applying the provisions of 371D to bring about an amendment to 370 itself. Whereas the purpose of 371D is to amend some other provision of the Constitution. True, 367 is another provision of the Constitution, but can you use that to amend then 370 itself? That's the point which you have to answer.
Lord, I can assure my learned senior.
No, please.
No, I can assure him, nobody can disturb me or derail me without my consent. I'm quite accustomed to such interruptions.
No, Mr. Solicitor, please don't get derailed because this is the heart of the matter.
No, I know that. I know that. And he also knows
mind spending
that. But I'm quite accustomed.
Some clarity on this is necessary. Let's sit down and do it for 5
what will
minutes
be, I will put it slightly differently. I'll put it differently. The interpretation which your lordships are, my lord, prima facie now testing.
We're testing it.
No, we are testing it. The prima facie testing it. Lord, what will be the impact of that interpretation? I'll read, my lord, the entire Article 370. Meaning thereby, my lord, in absence of a constituent assembly, which can never be modified, the sub-article 3 can never come into effect, come into operation, and 370 gets the status of a permanent provision. Lord, please read it in totality. My lord, please read the entire article. My lord, for my satisfaction, please have a look at, my lord, the entire article. Notwithstanding anything in this constitution, your lordships can skip. The power of parliament to make laws for the said state shall be limited to those matters in the union list and concurrent list. Your lordships have seen, my lord, those the precedent here. The provisions of Article 1 and of this article shall apply in relation to that state. The purpose is that Jammu and Kashmir can do nothing in their constitution, or even parliament can do nothing in their constitution. So I really appreciate, my lord, the difficulty, my lord, if your lordships accept that. Then even 368 route, which is the second route suggested, cannot be done. Because it says 1 and this article shall remain. If that is the meaning given, that is completely unalterable, then 370 remains as a permanent, though there are a host of considerations for me to show that it has always been a temporary feature. Further, such of the other provisions of this constitution shall apply in relation to that state, subject to such exceptions and modifications as the President may by order specify. My lord, other provisions would mean other than B.